Hello everyone, my name is Natalia and today we're going to make these adorable little koalas. I made this koala with a 3mm hook and it measures 12 centimeters. And to make this one, I used a 2.5mm hook and it measures 11 centimeters. Sorry, it's 11 centimeters and there's a 1 centimeter difference between them. That's all. This is how the safety eyes look. They measure 12 millimeters. Alright. And now, without further ado, I'll leave you with a step-by-step for these adorable koalas. Let's get started with our project, and we will begin by carefully creating the main body of our piece. To do this, we'll first make a magic ring, which is a foundational technique in crochet. Inside this magic ring, we will meticulously place 6 single crochets. Let's count them out together as we go. 1, then 2, followed by 3, then 4, then 5, and finally the 6th single crochet. Once all 6 single crochets are in place, we will gently pull the yarn tail to securely close the magic ring, forming a tight circle. This completes our first round. Now, moving on to round number 2, our objective is to create 6 increases. An increase means crocheting 2 single crochets into a single stitch from the previous round. As we work our way around this second round, we will also strategically hide the yarn end from our magic ring. This not only secures the beginning of our work, but also creates a neat and professional finish, eliminating the need to weave in the end later. There's my first stitch. We need to mark this stitch. I've successfully completed my very first increase, and then, following that, my second increase. Now, I will proceed to make 4 additional increases. That's 1, then 2, then 3, and finally 4 more increases in total, and upon completing these, we will conclude this section with a grand total of 12 single crochets. If it fell, I'm going to use this yarn end. Now, as a marker, you can use the yarn end or a stitch marker, whatever you have on hand. Now for round 3, we're going to make 1 single crochet, mark it, and then an increase. That's the sequence repeated and finish with 18 single crochets. Make 1 single crochet, then an increase, 1 single crochet, then an increase. Continue like this until you reach the marker. For round 4, the sequence is 2 single crochets. I mark the first one. If I forget to tell you, always mark the first stitch when we start a new round. Okay? So 2 single crochets and now an increase. Then repeat the sequence and finish with 24 stitches. You will perform 2 distinct stitches specifically, 1 stitch and then a second stitch followed by a deliberate increase, which is also 1 stitch and then a second stitch and then another increase. For the 5th round, we are going to meticulously create 3 individual single crochets, please. Remember to carefully mark the very first one, then the second, and finally the third, and subsequently we will execute an increase. Repeat the sequence, 3 single crochets and an increase, and then we move on to round 6. We do 4 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now the increase. Repeat the sequence, 4 single crochets and an increase. We finish with 36 single crochets. Now, from round 7 to 10, make 1 single crochet in each stitch. Don't forget to always mark the very first stitch so you don't lose your precise place, and you should ultimately end up with a total of 36 single crochets. Continue working like this up to and including round 10. For round 11, you will begin a new set of instructions which will guide you through the next steps of your project. First, we will meticulously work 4 single crochets. It is crucial to carefully mark the 4th single crochet in this sequence. Following this, we will execute a decrease. Subsequently, we will repeat this entire sequence, first working 4 single crochets and then performing another decrease. This repetition is essential for the pattern. And we finish with 30 stitches, ladies, for round 12. Continue forward. I did 3 single crochets and now it's time for a decrease. Repeat the sequence, 3 single crochets and a decrease. And we finish with 24 single crochets for round 13. Continue forward as well. I did 2 single crochets and now a decrease. We repeat the sequence, 2 single crochets and a decrease, and we finish with 18 single crochets, ladies. This little part you see here is the square, okay? Now we're gonna start with the head for round 14, where we make an increase in every stitch. Remember to mark the first stitch and you will finish with 36 single crochets, as we are making an increase in every stitch. We continue our crocheting journey in precisely the same manner for round 15. For this particular round, we are meticulously going to execute 5 single crochets. Let's count them out carefully as we go. 1, then 2, and it's crucial to mark the very first stitch we made to keep track, followed by 3, then 4, and finally the 5th single crochet to complete this segment of the round. This methodical approach ensures accuracy and consistency in our work. And an increase, repeat the sequence, 5 single crochets, 1 increase, and we finish with 42 single crochets for the round. For round 16, I did 6 single crochets. And now I make the increase, repeating the sequence. We finish with 48 single crochets for the round. For round 17, I did 7 single crochets, and now it's time for the increase. We repeat the sequence and finish with 54 single crochets. Now from round 18 to 24, we do 1 single crochet in each stitch. Don't ever forget to always carefully mark the very first stitch so you absolutely do not lose your precise place, and whenever you truly desire, you can gradually start stuffing the main body part with ample material. We continue like this, finishing with 54 stitches up to round 24. I finished round 24 and this is how it's looking. Now, let's carefully proceed and move on to round number 25. In this round, we will meticulously create 7 individual single crochets. Let's count them out together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and finally 7 single crochets. After completing these 7 stitches, we will then perform a standard decrease stitch to finish this part of the round. We repeat the sequence and finish with 48 single crochets for the round. Moving on to round 26, I made 6 single crochets. And now we make a decrease. We will now repeat this sequence of stitches and then finish up with a total of 42 single crochets for round number 27, and then 5 additional single crochets. And now I make the decrease. I repeat the sequence and we finish with 36 single crochets, girls. We just finished round 27 and I've already put in the eyes. So counting from up here at round 270, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, between rounds 7 and 8. Counting from the top, we place the eyes and the distance between one eye and the other. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 stitches, more or less, as the difference. Alright, you place the eyes there, look, 12 millimeters, and we continue. For round 28, I made 4 single crochets, and now I make a decrease. I repeat the sequence and we finish with 30 single crochets. And whenever you want, you can start stuffing. For round 29, I made 3 single crochets and now a decrease. I repeat the sequence and we finish with 24 single crochets. For round 30, I made 2 single crochets and now I make a decrease. You see that I already stuffed it, and when I'm about to close, I finish stuffing whatever is left. I repeat the sequence, 2 single crochets, 1 decrease, and I finish with 18 stitches in round 31. I made 1 single crochet and now I make a decrease. We finish with 12 single crochets. Now make sure to stuff everything that's left because we're about to close, and we repeat the sequence. 1 stitch, 1 decrease, 1 stitch, 1 decrease. It's short. Leave a slightly long tail in moss green and thread it onto a needle. And as you can see, here we have 12 single crochets. Alright, we go through all 12 stitches, grabbing only the front loop, the one facing us, and we pull a little as we go. I have the numbers 2, then 3, followed by 4, then 5, and this numerical progression continues in a sequential manner, increasing by 1 each time, until I ultimately reach the number 12, at which point my task is completed and I'm entirely done with this specific sequence. To ensure a secure and lasting finish, carefully close it tightly, making sure there are no gaps or loose ends. Then proceed to make a firm and secure knot, ensuring it will not unravel over time. Following this, meticulously hide the remaining yarn inside the head, specifically tucking it away within the nose area, so it is completely concealed. And in this particular instance, the color they are referring to and utilizing is a deep, rich black color. Now I'm going to do it with a darker gray, a little bit darker. First, we're going to begin by creating a foundational slip knot, which is the very first step in many crochet projects. Once that's securely formed, I will then proceed to meticulously make 7 individual chains. Let's count them out carefully together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and finally the 7th chain. Now pay close attention as I carefully insert the crochet hook into the 2nd chain from the hook itself, that's 1, and then 2 precisely right there. After inserting the hook, I will then complete the process by making a single crochet stitch into that designated chain. We're going to begin by creating a foundation of 6 single crochets. I have already completed the first one, then the second, followed by the third, the fourth, the fifth, and finally the 6th single crochet. Now, to prepare for the next row, we will chain 1 stitch, which creates the turning chain. Then carefully turn my work around so that the back of the previous row is now facing me, allowing me to work back across the stitches. I am now going to proceed to make 6 more single crochets into the stitches of the row we just completed, ensuring each stitch is properly formed. I'll begin by making the very first stitch right here, precisely at this point, which is exactly where I will execute the initial stitch. I will count them out carefully, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and finally 6 stitches. After completing these 6 stitches, I will then chain 1 stitch, which is a crucial step. Following that, I will carefully turn my work over to the other side, preparing it for the next row. Now, we will proceed to make 6 individual single crochets into the stitches we just created, ensuring each one is properly formed and placed. Again, the very first stitch, the foundational stitch that sets the pattern, is carefully placed right here, at this specific point. We will now meticulously count each subsequent stitch, ensuring accuracy and precision. We begin with the first stitch, then the second, followed by the third, the fourth, the fifth, and finally the 6th stitch, completing this initial sequence. Now I will chain 1 stitch and then I will carefully turn my work around. We are then going to proceed to make a total of 5 single crochet stitches. I will now begin by making the very first stitch. Right here, it's important not to place it in this particular stitch, but rather in this specific one. Okay? I will meticulously make all 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, and finally 5. After completing these, I will chain 1 more stitch and then turn my work once again. Turn my work, and I'm going to make 4 single crochets here, also starting in this new spot here. So we begin by counting 1, 2, 3, and 4 stitches. After completing those stitches, we will then chain 1, which creates a small loop. Next, carefully turn my work around to prepare for the next row. And finally, I'm going to do the exact same thing as before, repeating the previous steps to continue the pattern. But I make 3 single crochets here, as is my usual practice in this very first stitch. 1, 2, and 3. And that's precisely how it looks, creating a neat and consistent appearance. Now, we're going to proceed by making a single crochet stitch all the way around the entire edge of this piece, which will help to give it a much nicer, more polished, and complete finish, a continuous single crochet all the way around the perimeter. I know some of you get confused making a single crochet around here. What you need to do is make sure each stitch is right next to the other. Don't make any increases, don't let 2 stitches end up together, but make 1 stitch right next to the other. I'll show you more or less, but well, maybe it won't be very clear. And you make 1 here, another here, here, and then we just keep going around here. And on this side, the same thing. Here. And from this point, we will simply continue to proceed in this particular direction. Let us undertake this endeavor collaboratively, working in unison to observe and understand the eventual outcome of our efforts. Here, our immediate task is to meticulously create the very first element, and subsequently we will clearly and precisely mark it for future reference and identification. I will now carefully close this piece with a precise slip stitch. I will insert my hook right into the exact spot where I have previously marked, ensuring accuracy. Following this, we will cut a generously long tail of yarn, which is essential for effectively sewing in and securing this yarn end that we have meticulously hidden away within the fabric of our work. We can already cut it, and with the yarn, we're going to carefully thread this particular part onto a yarn needle and then gently pull this entire part to the back of the piece. And we leave it like that because later we're going to sew it. Now let's make the ears, and I'll leave the instructions here. I've written down what I did because I've already worked ahead since it's the same as what we did before. For the base of the koala's body, I leave the written instructions here, and that's for rounds 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, for rounds 6 to 8, we make 1 single crochet in each stitch. You should have 30 single crochets, 1 in each stitch. Okay, so we continue like this, just 1 single crochet in each stitch. I finished round 8, and now for round 9, we make 1 single crochet, mark it, and then do a decrease. We're going to repeat that sequence, okay? So 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, 1 single crochet, 1 decrease. This is how it looks. Cut a fairly long strand for sewing and pull it through here. Thread it onto a yarn needle, and we're going to join it like this. Stitch by painstaking stitch, ensuring each one is perfectly placed. Okay? And we will leave it precisely like this for the time being for now, so that we can meticulously sew it later and carefully shape it exactly like this, achieving the desired form. Ladies, let's make the arms. We'll make 3, okay? Because that's 2 arms and 1 for the little ball, which is made the same way. So go ahead and I'll leave them here for you. I've also written down that we've already done this. I did 2 rounds, okay? Rounds 1 and 2. For round number 3, we will carefully make 1 single crochet into each and every stitch around the entire circumference. This precise method will ensure that we ultimately end up with a total of 12 stitches, which is the correct count for this round. Please continue working in this consistent manner, diligently making 1 single crochet in each stitch until you successfully reach the very last stitch designated for round 4. Now I make a single crochet, mark it, and then a decrease. That's the sequence repeated, and you'll finish with 8 single crochets. You do 1 stitch, 1 decrease, 1 stitch, 1 decrease, and that's what you'll have left. Cut a slightly long strand for sewing the egg, and that's how we leave it. You also need to stuff it a little. We need to make 3 identical pieces, 2 for the arms and 1 for the tree, the feet, the legs. And I'll also leave it noted here because we've made it as well. Okay, so this is for rounds 1, 2, 3, and 4 with 24 single crochets. Now for round 5, I'm going to make 1 single crochet in each stitch, which will also give me 24 single crochets. Keep going like this until you reach the end. For round 6, we will now perform 2 single crochets specifically, 1 and then 2, and subsequently a decrease. Repeat the sequence and we finish with 18 single crochets for round number 7. I make 1 single crochet stitch and then 1 decrease stitch, and I will repeat that entire sequence around the piece. We will then end up with a total of 12 single crochet stitches, my dear girls. This is exactly how it looks from this point here. Now gently pull the yarn tight, and we absolutely need to stuff it completely. Stuff the legs, the arms, and the tail. I've also already pinned the nose in place, and just look at the image. I put it right between the eyes, more or less. Take a look. The row for the eyes is 1, 2, and 3. So that's about precisely where it truly goes. Now we will begin to carefully sew, meticulously attaching the head to the face, and I'm going to meticulously hook the stitch in this particular manner. Like this, carefully and precisely hook the entire stitch that originates from the head of the piece, ensuring you capture all its loops and fibers. Similarly, meticulously hook the entire corresponding stitch that comes from the nose section, making sure to include its full structure and form. And that's how we go. Keep going like this until you get to about here, which would be the end, and then we go back to make a knot. I'm done. I'm going to make a secure knot right here at this point, ensuring it's tight and will hold everything in place. Following that, I will carefully hide the remaining yarn tail completely inside the head of the piece, making sure it's not visible from the outside and creates a clean finish. Now, regarding the placement of the ears, if you are indeed sewing the ears onto the head, I typically count from a specific reference point. For one ear, I begin counting from here, starting at the base, 1, then 2, 3, 4, and finally I place it right there on row 5. This is where we will sew the ear securely. Additionally, if you prefer, you can use the eye as a very helpful and precise reference point for placement. Counting from the eye we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This provides an alternative method for accurate positioning. And there, more or less, we place the ear and do the same for the other one. And we're gonna sew, hooking both the head and the ear. This way I'm going to carefully sew only in this particular area, moving precisely from the very back of the piece all the way to the front. It's important to note that I will not be starting from the top or the head of the object, but rather I will be guiding the needle directly through the specific stitch located on the ear. And that's precisely how we proceed, okay? Okay, you must continue moving in this exact manner, maintaining a consistent rhythm and tension until you ultimately reach this specific point. Once you arrive at this designated spot, we will then carefully reverse our direction and meticulously work our way back to the starting position, where we will then form a secure and stable knot. I have diligently continued this process all the way to the very end of the current section. Now I will carefully insert the tool through this opening right here, and then, with precision, I anticipate emerging from the back side of the material, completing this particular step of the process. And we carefully make a secure knot, ensuring it is tightly formed, and then we skillfully hide it deep inside the head, making sure it is completely concealed from view. We're gonna sew the legs and arms and look at the position more or less counting from the bottom. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. There, more or less, we place the legs and the arms a little higher up. Use the image as a guide. Take a look from all angles. If you think it looks good, then you can start sewing right there. I carefully hook onto the main body of the piece, and now with precision onto the small delicate leg. I then proceed to attach it in precisely the same manner. Just as I meticulously attach the ear, earlier it's very much like a careful, intricate sewing process, similar to how the ear was joined. And there we go, perfectly aligned. Okay? Now continue this precise and consistent action, meticulously working your way around the entire perimeter or circumference of the object. Maintain the exact same technique, pressure, rhythm, and attention to detail that you just demonstrated. Replicate the initial successful application or process uniformly across the entire surface or path. Ensure each subsequent application or movement mirrors the first, creating a seamless and consistent result throughout the entire operation. This methodical approach is essential for achieving a professional and high-quality finish, ensuring every section is treated identically to the initial successful application. Make a knot here, just like we did with the ear, and hide the thread inside. Do the same with all 4 legs, and with the tail as well, place it more or less in the very middle. There, more or less, that's perfectly fine. We finish everything and come back, girls. Now we're going to make the eyebrows, and we use black yarn, not for the black one, and I count 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And here we go down 1 row. That's right, according to the image. And it would be 1, 2, 3, and 4 little stitches, more or less. Alright, try to make the other one as similar as possible. I will carefully go in through any available stitch and then precisely come out here at this specific location. I will then leave a sufficient length of the strand here, ensuring it is long enough to comfortably tie a secure knot later on. Following this, we will proceed to meticulously make the other corresponding one, ensuring it mirrors the first in appearance and placement. Okay, that's right there in the perfect position. I genuinely think it looks exceptionally good and aesthetically pleasing at this point. And now, with that completed, I will carefully move to the exact location where this particular strand is situated, ready to continue the process. We tie a knot and hide it inside the head. And that's how they turn out. I hope you really enjoyed today's video. Sending you a big kiss, and I'll see you in the next one.